Here's what's coming up on today's show.
You never know everything, but that keeps it interesting because you're always learning different things and better ways of working with clients and trying to help them in their situation. Hello, this is Mark Silverman, managing member and founder of Silverman & Associates, and I'm also a certified financial planner professional. I want to welcome you to the Saving with Silverman podcast. I'm glad you're here. Each week, we'll discuss different financial planning topics because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life.
Mark, fun fact of the week here. I know you'll enjoy this. You a big fan of hot dogs?
I like them. I don't eat them very often just because they're not typically healthy.
Not great for you.
Exactly.
But I admit I eat them when I get a chance too.
Yeah.
So, I try to hold on to them. I mean, hold it in moderation, I guess.
Right.
According to the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council, any person over the age of 18 should not top their hot dog with ketchup.
I agree. I'm a mustard guy.
Really?
On hot dogs, for sure. Just mustard.
I don't have any problem with that. I mean, I put other stuff on it too.
I like ketchup on like burgers and stuff, but on hot dogs, just mustard, sauerkraut.
I think it's
enough.
I don't really care what the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council says. You
disagree with them,
I think
right?
It's individual preference,
right?
So, everybody's different, so for sure. Well, anyway, I like hot dogs. Let's move on to our next, not nonsensical, but our next sensible topic here. Financial planning with Ernest Hemingway. Well, that comes out of the blue, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What can we learn about financial planning from some quotes from Ernest Hemingway? Once, Ernest Hemingway said, "In order to write about life, you must first live it." What can you draw from that?
Well, I think it's like anything. I mean, I'd say, as far as what I learned in college versus what I do in my career, they're totally unrelated. Everything that I do in my career, for the most part, is stuff that I've learned on the job.
Yeah.
And I think that has to do with financial planning and having worked with so many different people in different stages of their financial lives. The books teach you one thing, but in reality, it's not always the case.
Experience teaches you a lot about
it does. I think, when I first
learn in school.
Exactly. When I first started in the business, the idea was, you're going to be in a traditional IRA, and then when you retire, it's all going to come out, taxable, but it won't be a big deal because you're going to be in a low tax bracket. Yeah. And come to find out, that's not necessarily the case, because what they didn't teach you is that once you retire, your kids are gone, the mortgage is usually paid off, you don't have any deductions, and so you're not necessarily, if you have a pension, Social Security, all these other things, you're not necessarily in a lower tax bracket. And so what happens in the real world versus what is taught in school or books or whatever it might be isn't always necessarily the same. So experience comes with it. That's why it's important you work with someone that's kind of aligned with you as far as their age. Not to say everybody's got to get their start. You don't want to work with someone that's just starting in the business. And the same thing is, you don't want to work with someone who's just getting ready to retire because maybe they're doing things the old way and they haven't adapted a lot of the newer things that have benefited investors. So somebody that's right in the middle.
Yeah, a lot of those things they teach you in school are just totally outdated and not
correct.
Not applicable at all
right.
to real life.
Mm-hmm.
So here's another quote from Ernest Hemingway. He said, "We are all apprentices in a craft where no one ever becomes a master." You believe that?
I do. I mean, there's always something to learn. And again, I enjoy what I do. Do I know everything in this industry? No. There's always different things. Things change. Things evolve. And so my job is to always continue to learn and looking at different ideas and doing my due diligence on certain investments and whatever it might be to see if they're a benefit to my clients or not. And so you never know everything, but that keeps it interesting because you're always learning different things and better ways of working with clients and trying to help them in their situation.
There are a lot of people who refer to themselves as jack of all trades, master of none.
Then there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, I think so too. Another Hemingway quote: "Old men do not grow wise; they grow careful."
Yeah, I think it's important to, never get too overconfident, which can sometimes happen in the markets. When we're on a strong bull run, you think that everything always just goes up, and investors feel that way too. That's, financial behavior that we see. But you always have to keep in mind the markets do go down, the markets go up, they make new highs, they will go down. and then they'll go back up and make new highs. But you have to, as I've said before, markets work, investors don't. So you've got to have the right investment and the right mix that you can stay invested at all times, because if you try to get in and out, it's not going to work. And I can promise you that.
Here's kind of a morbid topic here, but I guess it makes sense. You got to really think about this. Ernest Hemingway once said, "The real reason for not committing suicide, well,
Okay,
it's because you always know how swell life gets again after the hell is over."
That's
a weird way of looking at things.
That is, but I mean, I guess the way to look at that would be, when tough times come, because they do in life, and I think you can't appreciate the good times if you don't have the tough times, and tough times help make you grow and evolve, and bad times never last forever, and good times never last forever. So you've got to understand that and know that some things too will pass, including stock market downturns. Things will turn around, and if you have cash and when it's down, it's a good opportunity to buy and hold on and know that it could still continue to go down further. But if you hold and do the right things, that the markets will work in your favor if you do it correctly. And that's why it's important you have somebody there, whether it be us or another certified financial planner, that can walk you through that process and guide you and make sure you don't make any mistakes.
When I read that quote, there are two quotes from somebody else. I have no idea who said these things first, that immediately came to mind. And you kind of hit on one of them. "This too shall pass, and the sun will come out tomorrow."
It will.
I mean, seriously, whatever you're going through, it's going to be different tomorrow. And
correct,
you got to get another chance to
and you've got to have bad times to appreciate the good. If everything was always good, which a lot of people say, "I just wish my life everything was always great," you wouldn't appreciate the greatness, because you'd have nothing bad to compare it to.
Yeah.
So it's important that you have the balance.
You've been listening to the Saving with Silverman podcast. If you have any questions at all about your financial situation, please give Mark Silverman a call. Again, his number is 520-333-7601, or go online to savingwithsilverman.com. For Mark Silverman, I'm Ron Stutz. We'll see you next time on the Saving with Silverman podcast.
The Saving with Silverman podcast is brought to you by Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, based in Tucson, Arizona. The show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show on your favorite app today and never miss an episode. Just search for Saving with Silverman to find us, or visit savingwithsilverman.com to listen to past episodes, to contact Mark, and to learn more about how to make smarter decisions with your money.
Did you know that Mark Silverman also has a radio show? Tune in to Saving with Silverman Saturdays and Sundays at 3 p.m. on AM 790 KNST.
All matters discussed on this show are for informational purposes only. Opinions expressed are solely those of Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, and staff. All topics covered are believed to be from reliable sources. However, Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC makes no representation as to its accuracy or completeness. This show shall in no way be construed as a solicitation to sell securities or investment advisory services to residents of any state other than Arizona or where otherwise permitted. Topics should be discussed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Fee-based financial planning and investment advisory services offered through Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Arizona. Insurance products and services are offered through Silverman & Associates, an affiliated company.